That's my imitation of a nuclear blast. Today, everybody, we are talking about Fallout 4, the Amazon TV show, but I have a funny feeling that it's going to go in a whole lot of different directions. We got some great guests with us, and it's going to be a blast. So, okie dokie, let's do this.
Welcome to the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast, your one-stop shop for television, movie, video games, comic books, book reviews, and more. Now, without further ado, here's Steven and Mike.
You talk first. I talk first.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Two Geeks and a Microphone. I am your co-host, Mr. Stephen Boster, along with the one, the only, the one who, I don't know if he's gotten his coffee yet or not, Mr. Mike Shanks. Mike, how you doing this morning?
Good morning to all you geeks out there in Geekdom Land. And yes, I have had one coffee and working on the iced coffee now.
I'm being really bad because normally everybody knows I usually have a Rockstar Zero. Well, I don't have any, but by golly, I got my cherry Pepsi. So I'm having more.
Ew, Pepsi. I hate Pepsi.
Okay, Tyler, what do you have? Which is that?
Oh, yeah.
Glitch. That's Glitch Energy. It is a all-natural vitamin-based energy drink, and I have no crashes or anything like that from it.
What?
My wife is sponsored by them. You can't see the chair, but I'm actually sitting in one of their chairs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you like it?
It's got you got to find your flavor. I would say get the variety. It's kind of like that other brand that.
Yeah.
Well, they sponsor his wife's channel, so of course he likes it.
That's why you can't say the other brand.
No,
there she is. There she is. Contagious Punk.
Actually, the funny part is I don't think I remember the other brand, but I think no.
I know what you're talking about. Trust me.
It depends.
I was thinking about getting it.
It depends on I that one I crash on, this one I don't. So you can drink it and then
there's G Fuel, Gamer Sups. Gamer Sups is what I
like Snitch or some Switch or whatever. No, Glitch. I've had all kinds of great, and she actually has a code if you use her name too, by the way. You get a discount.
Oh, okay. I'll get that code for you before the show's over.
It's her name, actually. It's just her name. Contagious Punk, yeah.
Okay, done deal. Sweet.
I would buy their variety pack because they give you like 6 different flavors.
Oh, so you can find your flavor. Mm-hmm. Well done. We'll do that. Yep. Well, we haven't even introduced him. Mike, you want to introduce our guest today?
We're just jumping right in.
Yeah. So okay. Today we're going to be talking some Fallout Shelter goodness. So get on your Fallout gear and get ready for some good times. First, of course, we have Angie. Angie is one of our regulars. Angie is also part of our Two Geeks family, and she is also one of the co-hosts of the Geek Girls podcast. So welcome, Angie. And then next, we have, who I've been wanting to get on for quite some time, my friend Tyler. Tyler's wife is Contagious Punk over there on Twitch, right? Twitch.
Yeah.
Well,
yes, that's her main platform. She does all those platforms.
Right. Well, like we have multi-platforms too. Our main is YouTube, YouTube and Facebook, but we're on Twitch also. So, but Contagious Punk is a gamer who streams all of her fun games that she does, and she's pretty darn good from what I've watched. So,
oh yeah.
Okay, real quick.
Oh, and Tyler filled in for her one time.
Oh God!
So
can I tell the story?
Go ahead. You tell it.
So she had LASIK surgery done on both eyes. Oh, yeah. She wasn't going to be able to stream, and she's a very consistent streamer. So she had blue hair at the time. So I bought
it was blue. I was thinking it was pink. Okay.
I had blue hair. She had blue hair. So I bought a wig and put it on and kind of kept my head down and played and was talking and things like that. It took like an hour for people to realize I have a beard. And it was hilarious. Wild that they finally figured it out. And then I show up when she does like subathons where she's streaming for like 2 days straight. And I'll play for 6, 8, 10 hours for her in the wig.
Nice.
That's
all right,
funny.
Real quick. just so I want to be appreciative of Tyler being here. And here's Glitch Energy. And there's the website. So Glitch Energy. So GLYTCH energy.com. And then she posted.
I got the code wrong. She must have changed it, or I just wasn't paying attention.
Right here it is, right here. It's actually Contagious is the code.
Okay.
Contagious. So what does the code get us? We get like
I think it's 20% off.
Nice.
She's gonna put it in the chat.
No.
Okay, cool.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll have to try that stuff.
This is one of the. It's 20%. No, this is one of my energy drink. I don't drink any of the, unless you're on like a road trip or something and you don't have any of it. I don't drink anything else. No crashes, no, because you know how someone make you jitter. These don't do that.
So how much?
So one of them bottles, one of them tubs is supposed to be a 30-day supply.
Okay.
If you measure it the way they tell you to, they're $32 for a tub.
Yeah.
So about $1 a day.
And so then you're looking at, which is not bad, because a Rockstar, if I get it on sale, is $1. The best price is $1, but it's always a minimum of $1.25, always minimum, if not $2.50.
Yeah. She just posted in there. There's two different lines. There's a hydration line, and then there's an energy line. So if you want to get hydration for like electrolytes and things like that, you can do that too. Kind of like a Pedialyte style kind of drink.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So it's good that if you're afraid you may have a hangover the next morning.
Oh yeah, no. Me personally, I just drink Pedialyte. That's so strong. It's like a liquid IV.
Oh god!
Nice.
So you wouldn't recommend it for hangovers then?
I drink the Revive series for like when I'm working in the yard and doing things like that.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, they have a non-caffeine line. Oh, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
All right, cool beans.
Right.
Well, everybody, there's our sponsor for the day. Hey, we are gonna jump right in there because Angie's only with us for a little bit. I know she loves Fallout 4, and she was so gracious to come with us to come hang out with us about it as well. So, you ready to hit the main event?
Oh, yes.
We're just gonna get right into it. We'll do the rest later.
Oh, cancel that.
It's time for the main event.
Sorry, I was in the middle of trying to get a screen share going.
Yeah, that was my bad. I kind of threw you off there. My bad.
No problem. So real quick, since we're getting into Fallout here, I just wanted to point out that IMDb has a nice little thing. It's kind of like character profiles for the three main characters of the series. So we'll start with Lucy. Lucy has grown up and spent her life. I'm trying to change my monitor so I can read it. Lucy has grown up and spent her entire life in Vault 33. Prior to her father being kidnapped, she has never left the confines of the vault, and though she is highly educated, upbeat, and uncannily direct with an all-American can-do spirit, there is a level of naivety that follows her to the surface and is visibly apparent to anyone who encounters her in the wasteland. That said, there is an intensity to her eyes that says she might just be a tiny bit dangerous. Actually, I really liked her character too. Next is Maximus, a member of the Brotherhood of Steel. Maximus grew up in a cruel and inhospitable post-apocalyptic America with no family or community of his own. He's the ideal candidate for radicalization by a militaristic religious order. That's a mouthful. His tough life experiences have left Maximus convinced that he is fundamentally weak, so he seeks power as a means to shield himself against the violence of the world and his own insecurity. A conflicted character with a chaotic post-apocalyptic world. Maximus represents the morality, ambiguity, that can exist in times of war and resistance. And last but certainly not least, we have the ghoul, which actually has become my favorite. A ghoul turned bounty hunter who collides with two other leads as he chases his next payday. He is pragmatic and ruthless, which is reflected in his ghoulish appearance. Like many other wasteland dwellers, the ghoul was once a normal human, but ended up becoming a nightmarish creature after being exposed to radiation from a nuclear fallout. However, there is more than meets the eye with him. And yes, there is. And I have to say, Brenda hated him, and she actually checked out of the show because of him.
He was the MVP of the show. Come on, man.
I loved him. I did.
Tammy found one of my props sitting around the house. It's actually a 3D printed mini Nuke.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
So jelly. So jelly.
There's so much even about the ghoul that is just, there's 5 ghouls that are bounty hunters in the game that are all different, but they name them all the same thing. Yeah, so that's where people get confused that he was here, then no, he wasn't. There was different ones.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Tyler, you have a lot of experience playing the games. And Angie, I think you do too, right?
Just 4 though. Just 4.
Okay, 4. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you two are resident experts on this. I have never played a Fallout game in my life. And so the only introduction I have is Tyler and the television series.
So the thing about the television series is it definitely is a fantastic story and but it's a side quest. It's not like anything about the game. People were trying to go, this is from this game and this is from that game. No, they're not. They are an independent story. They're not anything with the games. There's very few references. They made a lot of nostalgia references, which confused the crap.
Yeah,
but
there was Easter eggs, but
so it's 100% original story then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like The Walking Dead over here and The Walking Dead over there, 2 independent stories but the games, the timeline. This is actually the last section that we've played or have in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're comparing it to Walking Dead, and I like that comparison because I remember with The Walking Dead, I hadn't read the comic books, okay?
Right. And
it took me several years before I actually really started getting into it. Hang on, I got a dog who's going nuts.
So this TV show falls 7th in line of what's already been released.
Yeah.
So it is the farthest down the road of where we are.
Are you're talking about like of what's released, like the games Fallout 1, 2, 3?
No, I'm talking about chronological time.
Yeah,
like time and space. It is the last one. So there's a lot of fear from people that they're going to screw up the lore because the lore is just phenomenal. And they've already said they're not.
And massive.
They're not. Okay.
The developer of the game said that.
You were telling us before the show, we're doing our pre-production stuff. You were like, what's the wiki on it and how many pages you were saying?
20.
Oh yeah.
40, basically 46,000 pages.
46,000. Holy shnikes.
If you want to look up a book, you can look up one of the books in game and read the book. Now, it may only be 4 pages long.
Are there Fallout books?
No, I'm talking like books that you find in the game on the shelf, under the desk, in a safe, in someone's pocket. Gotcha. Yeah, then it may be 2-3 pages long, but you can find it on the wiki.
So I want to go back to comparing it to Walking Dead for just a second. So I hadn't read the comic book when I started watching the television series, and I remember comments from people who were like, hardcore comic book Walking Dead comic book fans, and they hated the TV series because the TV series diverted quite a bit from the comic book. They would take storylines from the comic book, but then they would change certain things that would happen or certain characters. And people, like I said, diehards of the comic book was just
I remember one of those friends we worked with. Yeah. This one doesn't have any really that problem though, as long as they don't screw up the old lore.
Well, see, I actually kind of liked it because I ended up reading the comic books, and I love the comics. but there were times where I was like, oh, I'm kind of glad they didn't do it that way in the TV series, because we got to see it in a different way, you know. So I think it just enhances it when they, you know, certain things, and it enhances the story and diverts from it occasionally. Now, some things I would prefer that they would keep, you know, consistent, but you know, I think it helps. So in that sense, comparing it to The Walking Dead, it sounds like you feel that way about Fallout, that this was more of an enhancement to the games.
Well, the when you watch the behind the scenes stuff, they said if people are trying to look at this as, okay, where in the timeline is it? It's not. We want it to create its own little storyline, to, you know, do a nod to the fans, but it's its own little thing, you know. So they even said it in the behind the scenes.
Yeah, it is like we find out little things about like Sandy Shores.
Yeah, Sandy Shores.
Yeah.
Yeah, we find out a little bit about that was from Fallout 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And Fallout 1, 2, and Fallout 1 and 2. And we find out how it got destroyed in the series. So it adds to the lore. Yeah, it was a phenomenal way of them describing it all. But you find out, you're finding out things, but where they like lost people was dog meat. Like, oh my gosh, it's dog meat from Boston. Well, this is in California and Boston. It's only been 7 years between the two series. So people were like, how do you get there? Well, unless you know the older games, the Enclave, all their dogs, like, and we saw a scene of it. One of the first couple episodes when the guy's walking through holding the puppy, and there's all these puppies being trained.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're all dog meat. That's what Enclave called their dogs. All dog meat. Right.
Yeah.
And if you look really closely, when he's pulling the body away, an arm falls out and it's a super mutant.
That was so freaking insane. When I saw that, I lost my mind.
Right. So dog meat is just what the Enclave call their dogs. And when you find a dog meat in the world, it is just a escaped dog from that faction.
Yeah.
They're all called dog meat. But see, people were trying to go, how do you get to Boston from New York or from California?
No, that's what I was doing, because I've only played 4. And I was like, I'm so confused. What's going on?
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, my dog meat went nuts, and she almost destroyed my studio. So,
but yeah, that's the things. And then like the water chip, because in Fallout 3 the water chip goes bad. They were trying to pull in nostalgia pieces, and I think it was great to pull people in, but it kind of confused some people who doesn't know all the lore.
Yeah.
That was trying to pull it in from 4 or from 3, that kind of stuff.
Well, and I feel like, you know, people that had never seen it, or like me who's only played 4, like it was like I kept telling Mike, definitely watch it, because it is very like good for people who's never been exposed to Fallout to be like, okay, so this is what happened and all this kind of stuff without giving too much away. But I do feel like there was so much that was missed. There's so much that was missed because you've like never played 1 or never played, you know, whatever. I had to like look up spoilers to be like, okay, what is it like the Enclave? I didn't know what the Enclave was, because it wasn't called the Enclave when I played 4, you know?
Right. There is then unless you download the update, then you kind of understand the new one.
Yeah.
But yeah. So the Enclave, the Brotherhood of Steel, the NCR, which we saw in the series, the NCR we saw in the series. They're all fighting, controlling factions over the wasteland, along with Vault-Tec and anyone else, the Raiders and all them people.
So, who do you consider the bad guy in the series? Do you think
everyone?
Everyone?
Everyone. Yeah. I mean,
that's kind of what I got watching
it. Lucy is probably the naive one at this point, but she'll turn into a survival person, which. What is bad and what is good in survival.
Well, I don't want to give spoilers to the end, but I think what happens at the end of the series of the season is going to lead into her moving in that direction.
I would hope a lot of people have already seen it by this point.
Well, this is true. It's been out for
I think we're already hitting spoilerific territory and
a little bit.
Okay, good point. Well, she finds out that her dad is actually responsible, or one of the ones responsible for Vault-Tec to begin with.
Which I called.
I saw it.
Yeah,
They
Yeah,
well,
called it
I
from
saw
the
it coming.
beginning. I was like, he's
Yeah.
either a raider or there's something fishy about him. Like from the start, I was like,
Well.
no.
Yeah, you,
So I don't know
you
if a
don't
lot.
get that actor to come in and just do a small part because I was like, oh, he's going to be a
Yeah.
big part of this for sure.
Right.
I mean, he played in the June 1984. He was
Oh, wow.
he was the main character. He was also he was in the Agents of Shield show. He was one of the main characters in
he
the
was in
beginning.
there, wasn't he?
Kyle McLaughlin, I think
Yeah.
was his name. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry, Tyler. Go ahead. I was just like, yeah, I knew he was going to be somebody. I just didn't know who.
So
Yeah.
So they've already talked about that we're into season 2. They only put so much money into season 1 because they wanted to see where it would go because they didn't want the flop kind of like the Halo series did, where they spent all this money and went.
They only put so much money. It looks like they spent quite a bit on this. Actually,
They said that their budget for season 2 is double. They're going to be adding in all of the extra stuff like super mutants and things like that.
I know, like I'm like so here for it.
Mm-hmm. They just wanted to see what the difference, like, see if it was going to be.
They wanted to give us a taste. They wanted to give us a taste.
They said they wanted to make sure they didn't make the community mad because if you make the community mad, they don't buy your next game.
Yeah,
and it's one of the largest selling games. They only, Bethesda really only makes Skyrim and Fallout. They make some other stuff along the way, but that's their money.
No, that was there too. Yeah.
Didn't they did Starfield too, didn't they?
Yeah. Did you ever play it?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so there's my example.
Yeah, no.
It was free, and I didn't play it. Was it for me? It was free.
Oh yeah,
for a
it was
while.
free, wasn't it?
On Game Pass, if you had an Xbox.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I was like, no.
I didn't even play it because I'm a Fallout Skyrim kind of person.
Right on. I figured it was Fallout, Skyrim, and space.
But see, the thing is they've really I'm kind of glad they did what they did with the people coming back from Vault-Tec because, like, you realize the Lee woman, the one who was there with the reactor, was also from the season. But when that board of directors is sitting there and they've got all the people who run all them, the next season, Robco, the founder of Robco, is in Fallout New Vegas. So that's where they're headed. So depending on which choices you made in the game, he'll be dead or alive. Now they've already talked about this, that they're going to do the candid, what the developers think choice you should have made. So we don't know what that is.
Oh my God.
Did you not kill him?
Man.
But
I'm just now starting to play all the other games and I'm like, what?
So the freezing sequence that you saw in Vault 31 is how he was frozen in Vault or in New Vegas.
You're kidding me.
No, it's how it is in New Vegas, right? So you got to see all that kind of stuff. The lore is so twisted but I'm so glad that they've talked about we are not going to screw up the lore. The only thing that'll make people mad is if you killed this person and we don't think that person should have been killed in the game. You said so they'll be alive for us, but you would have killed them. That's the only lore they're going to mess up is them big decisions.
Yeah, because I like it was one of those things where I was like, okay, I'm trying to not keep my hopes high because I'm such a massive Fallout fan. But also I was like I came in like very, very hesitant. And so then when watching it, I was just like, okay. So far, so good. And I kept watching. And then like Steven said, the end, it just really like paid it off so well. And I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, it was good. It was really
good. A great ending for me.
I hope that they walk across the United States and go through all the games. Like and do the lore of all the games. Like
that is what I said at the very end.
Do you remember back in like the 2277 when someone saved the town from the mini nuke or something like? I hope that they do that. I hope that there's little candid moments from the games of like, do you remember the last Vault Dweller that was here saved us? Why are you being so mean to us? Or something that.
I want to see it. I want to see it all. And they literally, I was telling my roommate this. I said, if they do it right, this could you could go so many directions,
Mhm.
and this could be like a longevity thing if they really wanted to do it. Like you
Really-
can do so much.
You could go to Canada and places like that too, because we know of 1,000. We know of 1,000 installed vaults.
Yep.
We only know like 112 or 114 found vaults. So there's like
So is
900 vaults that aren't available.
Yeah.
Yet.
Is there
Yeah.
any other company that made the vaults other than Vault-Tec?
No.
No,
Only Vault-Tec.
only Vault-Tec. All right.
Only Vault-Tec. Yeah, Mike.
She's talking
I
about.
didn't.
She's
Legit.
talking about this one, the Fallout Shelter game. That's the
Fallout
mobile
Shelter's
game, right?
a different one too, and it has lore that's added in also, which is kind of neat.
See, I tried playing that, but I was like, I gotta dedicate so much time to it. That
There's
I
a lot
gotta
of time.
Listen, as you get older, you only have so much time. You got to figure out what am I going to play and what am I going to do.
Well, Tammy's telling me I should play it, but the problem is I don't have a platform to play it on. I don't.
You can play on PC, you can play it on your phone, you can play it on
Yeah,
anything.
you can do it on your phone.
That one's one of a cross-platform ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I gotta get going, guys. Unfortunately.
That's okay,
I have
Angie.
a
Thank you
thanks
so
for
much
joining
for
us.
joining us.
So I just want to say that this show lived up to my expectations. It was everything I hoped for and more. And I already predict that when season 2 comes out, I'm going to take like 4 days off and just binge watch the hell out of it.
All right, before you go, what should we use for a scale? How about what's the little guy with the thumbs up? What's his name?
He's actually the ghoul from the.
Well,
series,
I know
from the
that.
series.
I know that.
Yeah.
But what is his name?
Vault Boy
Boy.
normally.
Vault Boy. All right.
Yeah.
So
Boy.
how many Vault? We'll use Vault Boy as our scale. How
Okay.
many Vault Boys do you give it?
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Whoa.
It was like little things, but it was more of like okay, whatever. Literally, I give it a 10 out of 10. It was phenomenal. It was great for new people who did not know anything about Fallout. And even because I only played 4, even me watching it and some of the little nods, like I liked it because I learned a little bit, but I also didn't feel left out. It just across the board, phenomenal. And I think from the characters to the cinematography, because I'm all about photos and the video and all that kind of stuff. It just they really had a lot of respect for the fans. They did a really good job, and you could tell they put their time in it. Like this, to me, this is like Dave Filoni and all them making the Marvel stuff, how they're such a massive fan and how they're
Star
really
Wars.
good. Huh?
Dave Filoni does the Star Wars.
Yeah, sorry. But
Kevin Feige does
Sacrilege.
Yeah.
Sacrilege.
You know how they're such big fans of Star Wars and Marvel, and how they really are trying to be intentional on a lot of the movies. I feel like that's what these guys did. They really were like, okay, we're going to be respectful. We're going to try to do whatever. And I feel like that's, they put their heart and soul into it. So, yeah.
Well, the people who wrote the games also were.
Well,
they wrote the story. They wrote the story too. They were so scared they didn't want to mess up anything.
Yeah. But yeah, and I'll put it this way. You guys know I'm a massive D&D fan. I'm probably a bigger Fallout fan than I am a D&D fan. And so that goes to tell you, I am such a nerd. I have so here's my one shirt. And then I have one where it's from the comics that you can find in the game. And then I have one where it shows the Vault Boy, and it says sunny day or something. When I signed up during COVID for Loot Crate, they had a whole vault. I mean, you could still buy it. I just haven't got my finances to where I could go back and do it. But you can get a subscription box for Fallout. And I have so many Fallout stuff. I'll just show you a little bit real quick. I've got a keychain. So it says Nuka-Cola.
Oh, it's the caps. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the cap.
1,000 caps to shoot this mother. Oh, no.
Paladin Dance.
Okay.
Cool.
I have a putrid glowing guy. I've got the irradiated bear that you see in the show, actually. I mean, it's not the exact one, but yeah. And then I've got tons of stuff. I've got a gazillion of these little guys. where it's from on excuse me, on your little map. You have your little achievements and whatever you could put your stuff in. And so this one here is the scavenged. So yeah. But I'm massive fan. Like, I just love it. And I think part of the reason why I liked it was because I grew up like around my grandma. She was I mostly was over there. And so I listened to like 50s music and all this kind of stuff. So that was what got me in the door of playing Fallout.
I remember you saying that.
You know,
I remember you saying that.
Yeah. So, and I was so glad in the show that they kept a lot of the music like that. As soon as I heard that, I was like, okay, this is all right, you know? So, but anyways, yeah, I gotta get going. So,
all right. Well, thank you for joining us.
But you guys have a great show.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Thank you, Angie. Awesome.
So I am curious, Tyler, was there anything that from the game that you would have liked to have seen in the show that was not in the show?
Absolutely. But here's what it is I knew, but when Todd Howard talked about how they were going to ramp it up by ×2 for the next series because they wanted to make sure they didn't, he almost said the Fallout or not Fallout. He almost said the Halo. They didn't want to crash like that game series. He said, now now the fans are loving it. We're going to keep going with it. And they're ramping up. So everything that I wanted to see, they've already talked about in season 2.
Okay.
It's going to get better.
Oh,
yeah. Like the super mutants. The super mutants are these big, irradiated people that, Vault-Tec mainly made most of them, but, the Vault-Tec is a very vicious corporation. Like there was only like 2 vaults that didn't have a problem. 2 that we know of. Most of them were things like,
and that's probably where the executives were at.
Yeah. Well, actually, the executives in the series, they were frozen, and they were using the other 2 as breeding pods to make super managers. Is what it says.
Right.
So, the Vault 76 is the only one. Vault 76. I don't remember. But there is a vault that they had a. Oh, there it is. Vault 76. I was right. Vault 76 control vault. But the other one's like put like 1 guy in a vault and 99 puppets, and locked the door for 1,000 years. So he had no one to talk to. So he couldn't. So he just died in there because he had no one to procreate with. And like water chips would fail, and electricity would fail, and they would pump toxic gas into them when people were in there to see the mutations. We saw that in Vault 4 in the series. That kind of stuff.
Right.
They are vicious people. Wow. All run by like 5 organizations, Robco and things like that.
Sounds like the media right now.
But it's a phenomenal series. If anyone, I would say 1 and 2 is going to be hard to play for most people, but 3 isn't too bad. Just old.
Cool. I like the series. I've never had any experience with the games whatsoever. And I thought it was an enjoyable series. I had fun. And I can't say that with a lot of series today.
Yeah, most of them lose me somewhere along the way. Yeah. This one is just, they did such a great job not screwing up anything and explaining like what happened in Sandy Shores and things like that.
Well, hopefully it has the longevity to it and it lasts as long as you guys.
I hope it turns into like 12, 13 seasons kind of thing.
Nice.
Because if they just keep like, the problem will be they'll have to go across and try to figure out how to not screw up too much and what to talk about and what not to talk about and things like that. But
so now nothing in this series though is from the game is what you're saying, but I've heard rumors that they may be getting implemented in the games. Yeah,
the Shady Sands is the one thing that they really hit that was in Fallout 1 and 2. And then there's books about it and stuff like that.
So
you never knew how it was destroyed.
So the series could turn into
show.
Do what?
You didn't know how it was destroyed. It was destroyed in the games or talked about in the games, but you never knew until they revealed it in the show.
Like, the great, like in Fallout New Vegas, they talked about the Hoover Dam Great War, and and Shady Sands was destroyed, but they never told you how. But in the show, they told you that her dad bombed it because of this and that and whatnot.
So they could use the show to enhance the stories of the game, or they could use the show to test drive some ideas for the game then, just to see how people like it.
It's kind of like Shady Sands was one of the only locations that had a GEC, which is like an Eden creation kit. So it recreate the Garden of Eden with all the flowers and animals and stuff like that. Ooh. And he destroyed it with that nuclear bomb. But there was one more in Fallout 3 that you would find, and that's where the game basically kind of petered off to the end of the game. Was you found it, now what? And then they never talked about it. So I would love to see them like get that and restart the Garden of Eden and things like that.
You know, the one thing I was confused is, okay, so we started out this series and we had the professor guy, the guy that was smart, and he's with Lucy, and they're trying to get him somewhere. I don't even remember where they're trying to get him. Okay. And then he basically says, "Cut off my head."
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So they Dooku him.
Yep. So the Siggy Wiziel dude or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Do you remember the scene where he was carrying the dog out? There's a scene where he's carrying the dog out, and there's all these dogs being trained. So he's an Enclave person. Okay. So he was fleeing the Enclave, and who was chasing him? The Brotherhood of Steel, which is their competitor. Okay. Their enemies. So that's why they were chasing.
Okay.
Him. So they're mostly enemies. One is like an old faction of a government, and one is like a rebel group kind of thing.
So, so let's talk about those factions.
It's almost like tech. It's almost like the tech industry versus the government. That's kind of the way I took it. You know.
So go ahead, Stephen. How many different factions are we talking about? So you talked about the Brotherhood, which is more of would that be the tech-based one, or they're trying to find tech? Because I thought that there was the joke. It was like, we did all this work and it was a toaster.
Right. Okay. So the Brotherhood of Steel is a preserver of technology. So they will find working technology, get it working, kind of like the water treatment plants and the power plants and things like that. The Enclave want power.
Just power.
Ultimate power. That kind of stuff,
right. It all comes back to Star Wars, Tyler.
Oh yeah.
What are other factions? Because obviously they're not the only two.
Well, the NCR, the New California Republic, was one. They're like that's who ended up with all that stuff when he fled. Like the power plant and things like that. Okay. They're also in New Vegas too, because they're in that area. So we'll see. That's why they're going to merge that over there. But they're not in Boston. They're not in New York. They're not in them other places. So they're only in a small section over there on that side of the country. The Brotherhood of Steel is everywhere. The Enclave is everywhere.
Interesting. Are those the only factions we saw in this? So you've got the factions, but then you've got the Vault, and the Vault or Vault Tech, but Vault Tech is run by 5 different companies, so 5 different groups, and they've been doing experiments on all their different. Each vault was a different type of experiment.
For the most part, yes.
That's so freaky.
But see, so the NCR is mainly California and Oregon and Nevada, and then there's Caesar's Legion, which is you meet them once or twice, and they're pretty much in the Arizonas. Then there is the Brotherhood of Steel, which is in like Texas, in the Midwest, Missouri, Kansas. There's one I'm looking at now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 factions in the United States, but you only meet 1 or 2 at a time because they only overlap in small areas.
Okay.
Gotcha. Now, okay, I got a question. So Lucy's dad, he was part of the original ones who basically implemented the vaults and all that good stuff.
The bombing of America. Okay. Yeah.
Well, yeah. And the bombing of America. Correct. Yeah.
Well,
just so they could use their freaking vaults. I mean, that's pretty darn evil to begin with. But do they explain how? I mean, okay, and I know the cowboy, the bounty hunter. I know he's from back then too.
Mm-hmm.
Now I get how he survived because he's out on the surface and he's been affected by the radiation, right? And he's using he's using the IV drip to survive. Mm-hmm. How does Lucy's dad not only survive but doesn't look like he even ages? Well, they don't really explain that.
Vault 31? Yeah, they kind of did, but you could blink and miss it. Vault 31 was the one where they cryo-froze everyone.
Oh, gotcha.
So that's where the leader of the NCR came from also, because she's from that. And then that's where the Fallout 31, that's where that current leader after he left was, that I don't remember her name. That one was in there. And then somebody else. There was like 3 or 4 people that were in there that came from. And if you looked, you just saw rows and rows and rows of other executives that was in there.
Wow.
So Fallout 32 and 3 were breeding pods to make super executives to retake over the world from Vault 31, which is people from Vault Tech from before the bombs dropped.
Jeez. Wow. Holy moly.
The lore is crazy.
The lore is a wild place. You can get lost, and I may be misquoting a few things, but
that's okay. We'll never know.
This is true. All right.
Your own stuff, Tyler, and I'd be like, okay, that sounds cool.
I figure we could show off some of your goodies now.
Sure.
Tyler made all of this stuff. I believe you 3D printed the majority of it.
And these are miniatures, right? No, I'm just kidding. These are full size.
Full size. Yeah, they are full size.
So you can go ahead, Tyler, and explain each one of these, because I can't explain.
So this is a weapon from Fallout 4. It's just a shotgun, but it's literally 2.5 foot across. It's pretty good size.
I love their weapons too. Their weapons are awesome because they don't look like futuristic. They look similar to something we would have today.
Some of them.
But different enough just to make them really interesting and unique. Right. So that's the first one.
Yeah, then this one is just a standard laser musket from Fallout 3. It is also full size. Nice. Everything's full size.
And that you 3D printed all that, right?
Everything is 3D printed, yeah.
Nice.
Wow. How long did it take you to do that one?
Oh gosh, 40, 60 hours. Something like that. Well, the one section, like where the arrows are, you can kind of see a line there. One of them green sections, that's split into 2, probably took 16 hours to print just that one section. Not including finishing and painting and developing rusting techniques and things like that.
Yeah, because you got to like sand it down and everything, because when it comes out, it doesn't come out all nice and smooth and all that.
No, it comes out a little bit rough. It's kind of like this one right here that I'm holding. Probably took 12 or 16 hours to make. And
that's so cool. Neat. All right, so we go to the next one. I love this.
This one is half a lifetime to make, because I actually made a silicone mold of this one, and I can make copies of this.
Nice.
The light works. The light works on the left.
Okay.
It's wearable. The hoses, good luck finding them. I had to order mine from Russia, and they had to sit in customs for 3 months.
Oh wow.
Yeah, wow. They're Russian gas mask hoses from Russia before all, I've had this.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that about this.
Yeah, it's wow. I ordered, because the Russian gas mask hoses is actually what was used in the game. So I ordered them, and they weren't expensive, $15-20, but it took months to get them to customs.
It took forever to get them, huh?
Yeah. Wow. Like, what do you need gas mask hoses for?
You're lucky you didn't have the government knocking on your door.
This was all before the world calamities right now.
I had no idea that you went to extents of actually ordering a Russian tube.
I actually have another set of them I have another helmet I've been working on, and it needs them also. I bought 2 sets.
Wow. Dang. That's so cool. I think that's my favorite piece out of these. I really like that.
That one is Preston Garvey's laser musket. So there's a crank in the back that you would crank it, and it would charge it, so it wouldn't require a power source. You could just crank it, shoot it, crank it, shoot it. Yep. I actually took a real camera lens, if you see right there at the and cut it with a bandsaw to make it, because I needed the part, so I cut it up and used it.
Nice.
It was one of them that they gave away at work.
Nice.
I remember those. I do.
That's what I did with it. Yep.
That's
Yeah,
so
I found
cool.
like the yellow wire there. I had to source all that yellow wire because it's actually they don't, it's not really readily available. So I had to contact some friends in the industry and find it. I found it. It was in a cable networking place, like a charter cable or something like that. They use that wire to specify special lines, and I had to. Can I buy like 20 foot of that from you? They're like, yeah, why not? Okay, great. So I have 20 foot.
That's awesome.
So you got extra for another one.
I have so much junk.
I love it.
Now, I think this is so cool.
This one is a ray gun from one of the expansions of Fallout 4. It is it's a hair dryer that's been modified to shoot laser beams. Or plasma rays, or whatever they call it.
That's so cool looking. I love it.
I am impressed with your creativity of what's around you to get something, to put it together, to have it look like that is pretty gosh darn cool.
The hardest thing for me to learn was to figure out how to rust paint.
Oh, really?
I remember you doing that too. And
you
coming into work showing me different things. Look, check out what I rusted now.
Yeah, because if you think about it, you can't rust plastic.
Right, exactly.
But I did. I know. I figured out how to rust plastic.
You came up with a technique for it. That is
I
so
came
cool.
up with a technique to rust plastic. Yeah. And then I found out that they made a commercially available product about a year and a half later. but I still use my method because mine will actually have metal, like rust flakes. You can actually flake off.
Nice.
So,
yeah.
So, Stephen, as we would say on the podcast, Tyler's is much more better.
Cheers.
I was waiting until we could get it in somewhere.
Yeah,
I think I remember you bringing this one to work too.
I did. Yeah, this was one of my first ones. That's why. So you can kind of see the build lines where I didn't get it all out on that little spot above the hand grip. Like,
yeah, actually, I can see it. Yeah,
yeah. These were some of my very first ones.
But even though you can see it, it still looks great.
It looks. Did that other photo come through? The one that I sent you of Eddie.
I may have another way to show it. I may.
Okay. Well, the reason why I brought up Eddie, so here was my costume.
Yes, this I loved.
Nice.
That is a hand sewed jumpsuit with all the yellow and the numbers on the back and the leather arms
and you wore this into work for Halloween one year.
I did.
Yep. I remember that. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna close down the.
That
photos.
is pretty cool.
The reason I brought up Eddie is if they want to completely blow this away in season 2, they need Eddie, because Eddie is an iRobot that becomes friends with the protagonist in Fallout New Vegas. And
okay,
as we know, that's where they're headed.
Okay.
So I hope that they can.
So if they bring Eddie into season 2, it will be just the icing on the cake.
It'll be the icing on the cake. Yeah, so that was my homemade pit boy right there too.
All right.
Oh, it's not.
It's
not doing what. It's. See, the problem is it.
Oh, looky! You got a working Pip Boy.
I do. The video is full screen. Click exit.
Oh
well.
I'm trying. It didn't save to my photos for some reason. I think because it's a video, it didn't save into my photos. No. But yeah, that Pip Boy, that was so cool.
That was before they did it for commercially available.
And you coded all that.
I coded all of that in an Arduino. Took screenshots from the game and made sounds from the game, ripped the sounds out of the game, and re-recorded some of the old radio. Like you could turn it on the radio stations, like she was talking about the nostalgia radio station. And I had
nice,
like 22 hours of music on it. I could just sit there and just play it and wear it. That's battery operated, so I could just play it.
That's awesome.
And the Eddie is the one that's right below it.
Yeah, there's Eddie. Right. I see Eddie.
Probably. I don't know why that photo didn't come through.
Well, I think it's a video too.
No, it might have accidentally.
I don't know. I couldn't get it to save to my photos for some strange reason.
But yeah, if you notice, kind of on the shelf, look at like there's nothing but helmets and props and stuff like that. In my basement, there was nothing but props everywhere, and they're all in storage right now. I wish I had them all to show you.
Nah,
but I spent like 6 months on Eddie. My neighbors thought I was crazy because I would be like out in the middle of the front yard painting them, and they're like, "What in the world is that?"
They're probably worried about you. we gotta turn this guy in. There's something strange about him. He's always making contraptions.
There is a lot. Yeah. The problem is the Fallout that they have a lot of toes they can step on if they're not careful. And I hope.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, if they don't think of this lore thing and they step on it, it may make a whole bunch of people mad. It would have like been putting Rick as an extra in The Walking Dead, that kind of thing. You know, okay. He's right there. Oh, and he just like rename him as something else. You know, that would have been horrific. But you know, it's. I think they did. I think they're going to do a great job. I really do.
Well, let's see if I can get this. All right, here we go. So, I'll share. I think I got this. So when you say Eddie, just so people can get a bigger picture of it.
Yes, that is Eddie. Mm-hmm.
Oh, neat.
He's got a license plate on the side of his head, and that's why he's named Eddie. You find him like that. Yep. And
you got the license plate on the side of your.
I made the license plate. Yeah, there's I made the mine looks basically just like him. Mm-hmm. I put vacuum tape on him and blinking lights, and I made the Eddie.
My child is an honor student is on it.
Yep, I did. Mine has that on the side of his head. Yep. And he's a Bluetooth speaker, and I'm incorporating AI into him so I can talk to him.
Nice.
What?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like I use these photos actually to 3D model it and make it. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
I hope that he's in the Fallout 2, but I'm trying to remember his lore. That's the problem. I don't remember what his is.
Well, see, you're gonna have to go back and play the game again, and
or just read the Wikipedia page.
Well, that's true.
Right.
Well, if you want to do it the boring way.
Well, the problem is them games were on like older consoles. Although my wife did just purchase me a mini Nuke, like this thing, but full, huge, massive, that has all the games in it for PC.
Nice.
So I can literally go back and play them all.
Yeah, I was gonna say if this thing's taken off like it, this TV series taking off like it seems like it is, I'm sure everything's gonna get re-released.
I thought about selling a lot of my stuff because of all the people that are like interested in buying it. Prices just went through the roof.
Oh, I bet you they're through the roof right now.
They are, yeah. So Eddie,
are they through the roof right now? You both said it almost at the same time. Sorry. They are on the same wavelength, everybody. That's awesome.
Oh, so here's where it'll get fun. There are 7 different endings for Eddie for Fallout New Vegas. So depending on what choices you made, depends on where he is in the story.
Oh, wow.
And so the story on the show takes place after, right? Yes. So it's so if they show Eddie, then obviously that will say what they think the outcome should have been. They should have been.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah. So Fallout New Vegas happened in 2181, and the TV show happened in 2296. So it's only a few years later.
Wow.
Interesting.
Wow. Dang.
I'm curious to see what they do with because some people make certain decisions like do you kill this person? Do you not kill this person? Do you blow this town up or not? I'm curious to see what they think the correct storyline is.
Yeah.
Well, and it also depends on, where people are at who are watching the show and who they like. And, because sometimes you kill people off in that sense too. This character isn't as popular, so let's kill it off.
Right.
That kind of thing.
My favorite character was the Ghoul.
Mine was too.
Walton Goggins. I really like him. I first saw him in the Justified TV show and really liked him. And then so I really liked him in this one. But help me understand the Ghoul. Now you referenced, there's different ghouls and all called ghouls.
Mm-hmm. So they filled. I think what they did is they filled in a lore piece because, like the little vault guy on my screen there, who is he? Who is he modeled after? That's who he's modeled.
That's
after.
who he's modeled.
We
after.
didn't know that until this TV series. We knew.
Oh, so you don't know? You didn't know the whole thumb thing?
No, we knew what the thumb thing meant, but we didn't know who. And you got to see him in like old photos and stuff of like you got to see a character like him. They can't get the exact one, but like him for all the promotional stuff, like buy Vault Tech, that kind of stuff.
Right.
We knew he was a cowboy, and we knew a few things like that through some books and like one game, and then we knew he had a kid and family that was married to Vault Tech in another game, but they just finished the lore right there. So now we know who he is, what his job was, but now we don't know where his family is.
Right, yeah, because that's what he's saying at the end of it. He's like, "Where's my family?"
Mm-hmm.
It blew my mind when they had the scene of him and his daughter, and he makes the comment that we were told you hold out your thumb, and if the explosion is larger than your thumb, then
at arm's length. Yeah. Do you know where that came from?
No, I don't.
U.S. military.
Nice.
That was a real thing when we were doing nuclear explosions testing back in World War II.
Well, I also remember as a kid, going through what do you call it?
Tornado training.
Yeah, get under your desk like that's gonna do any good.
But, okay, here's a great example then. The Brotherhood of Steel guy, Maximus, he survived in a refrigerator. Kind of like Indiana Jones did with the nuclear blast in the refrigerator, right? But all around the wasteland, there's people dead inside refrigerators. So how did he survive and no one else survive?
Wow.
There's little kind of, maybe he was farther away, but they dropped it right on his hometown because he was from Shady Sands. Do you remember that? He was from Shady Sands.
I remember that.
Yeah, maybe they wanted him to survive.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
Plot point.
Yeah, that's one of the holes that they made, and I don't think they'll ever figure it out. It's kind of like in all the games, these fusion cores don't run out of power. But in Fallout 4, they all run out of power. But Fallout TV series, they don't all of a sudden again. So can we explain this? But then
wait a minute. I thought that because remember there was a plot point where
they pulled it out. That's why it died.
Yeah, because remember she kept telling him, "No, you can't take that from them."
Yeah, because but in the Fallout 4, they'll run out of juice. Like you'll be walking around in that power armor and it'll just die, and you'll just be stuck in there. But this is where the Fallout wiki gets crazy. Nuclear physicists got on there and did all the decay of the nuclear and figured out the size and figured out how long they would last, and they all are starting to die at this time frame. So they explained the lore that Fallout didn't explain because they did the math on the size of the nuclear reactor it could be and how long it would last. When they were made by the Robco records in Fallout 1. And
people are getting into this.
It's wild how into, like, there are books that people will like, well, from Fallout 1, this volume of this book said this. Fallout 3, it says, volume 3 says this, and that talks to the this over here, and this explains this small section of the story.
Wow.
It is. So I'm glad that they're not trying to follow a game, because there's no way they can follow it.
Gotcha.
Or it'd be really boring.
So do you think with the whole thing of him searching for his family, that could be the whole travel log where they're going across the United States?
Could be. they would have to explain about how his daughter left his side and still survived. Because she was there when the bombs were blown.
That's right. Right at the very beginning.
But see, Vault-Tec also made things like it's funny. There's a tornado company that makes them tornado shelter kind of thing that's in a big cylinder. I'm wondering if they're going to run him into one of them and close it and he'll survive, and then somehow she won't be there or something like that. It's always something crazy with the Fallout.
Yeah. Plot point, but that's okay. I don't care. I just want some good fun storytelling.
The story is great.
I never realized how deep down the rabbit hole it goes. Down the vault hole.
Down the vault.
Oh my goodness. That's interesting. So at the end of the season, you had the one guy who, the one weird guy says, "Oh, I could fix your foot or fix your wound or whatever," and he gives him this concoction, this potion. Did that make him a ghoul? That whole thing?
Yes. Yes, it did. That's how he's going to live forever as a ghoul. And see, that was an homage to a random event in Fallout 4. That happens in Fallout 4. Kind of. You can read about a story that this happened. And that's where I think they were trying to pull in all this lore to keep everybody super hyped and excited. And that's one of the moments I'm like, it's good. It pulls people in, but what's the odds that the same kind of story happened across the country from each other?
Yeah.
But sorry, my dog unplugged my microphone.
That's okay. So it did say that I thought it was interesting that it did create a comedic element.
Mm-hmm.
It said, "Dude, you got an arrow in your neck." You know, kind of.
That was funny,
right?
That was funny.
Well, if you think about it, that's also an homage to Skyrim. Because when you walk into Whiterun in Skyrim, I used to be a traveler, but I took an arrow to the knee. And then he was basically saying, I took an arrow to the neck.
Well, I loved it when they're like, "Oh, you probably shouldn't remove that." I can't walk around with an arrow in my neck.
That's the exact dialogue from one of their other games. You shouldn't remove that.
Gotcha.
I can't be an explorer with an arrow in the knee.
Nice. Yeah, see, I wouldn't know that. But I thought it was hilarious.
Bethesda is storytellers, and they need to. I hope they keep being storytellers.
Agreed.
Nice.
Agreed.
Okay, well, we've gone through our hour, and I think
we don't have 3 more. We don't have 3 more.
Yeah, you got to talk to Steven on that one. Look, I'm lucky to get an hour with him.
Excuse me.
He's like the busiest guy on the planet, so
I know. I got to cut back.
But anyway, I knew once this TV series came out, I knew I wanted to have you on because I know how big a fan you are of this series long before the show was ever even thought of.
Absolutely.
And I knew you would have some really good insights, and because I don't know anything about the games. I've never played them, and but I gotta say I think this was a fun show. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's part of it that gave me a throwback to the Brendan Fraser movie, Blast from the Past, which I love that movie.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
No.
So, you never, man, go search out Blast from the Past. It's a fun movie. I think you'd like it actually. It's all comedy, but basically this family goes into a vault because they think there's a nuclear explosion. They think there's about to be a nuclear explosion. Mm-hmm. And it actually turns out there's never a nulier explosion. So they're in the vault for like 30. Yeah, they're trapped for like 30 years or something like that. And they come out and, life is totally changed.
Right.
And so I think you'd like it. I mean, it's not exactly the same, but there's a similar feel, from that. So this gave me a throwback to Blast from the Past, which I enjoyed. I liked the main characters. I like Maximus. I like Lucy, and I love the Ghoul. I think the Ghoul is awesome. Brenda was watching it at first, and she's like, I don't get why you like this. And I'm like, well, it's not a lot different from The Walking Dead, and you love The Walking Dead.
Right.
But yeah, she hated the ghoul, and how mean he was to Lucy and everything. And then later on, when we start to get his backstory, I go, hey, come here. You got to watch this, because now you're starting to see why he is who he is,
right?
In current time and everything. And I'm like, see, he's not as bad as you thought he was. I mean, he's bad, but there's a reason why he's bad.
Right. There's explanations of what's going on.
Right. He's not bad just to be bad. There's actually a reason for it. So
it's saying that the season 2 is going to come out late 2025, early 2026. So basically a year from now. A little over a year from now.
Well, that's good, because they're taking a little time then, and
that means they're going to kick it up a notch. Yeah,
I hope so. What we should do, if y'all wanted to, is possibly talk about doing another one right before to get everybody excited again for the season 2.
Agreed.
So, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst thing you've ever seen, 10 being the absolute best, how many Fallout?
I would probably say 9 and a half, like that. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Ooh.
I enjoyed it.
I think I would give it a 9 too. I think I'm right there with you. I'd go 9. I can't go at 10, but 9, yeah, definitely.
I give it a solid 8.5.
Yeah,
that's not solid.
Hey, everyone could be wrong. That's okay.
I tell him that too.
No, I'm really hope that they do exactly. The only thing that scares me about the TV series is are they trying to phase out the games?
Trying to phase out what?
Trying to phase out the games and not make another game.
Oh, right. I don't think so.
I hope not. Think so. But then the next question is where does the game fall into the storyline? If it's in between a game, then they have to make sure they don't screw up the lores of all the other games. Or are we just going to be in a whole new area that no one knows about?
I would say new area is probably where they'll go.
They always do a new area. That's the way it always is. They're never like a go to here to there.
Do you think though that Skyrim and Fallout are Bethesda's biggest money makers?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Is there any crossover between Skyrim and
other than the few little? Well, it depends on. Now you're getting into the cross universe world of kind of like is all the other stuff. Yes, there's a lot of reference between them, but not really.
So here's the question: do you think they'll come out with a Skyrim TV series since the Fallout did so well?
That would be wild.
And then we can see a crossover at some point, probably.
That would be wild. I don't know how they would do that.
I don't know. It'd be better. It would be better. I can't imagine it being worse than Wheel of Time or Rings of Power. I think it would be better because it's better storytelling. They already have stuff to work from.
Well, see, then when you get into the Skyrim thing, you also have 4 other games that have lore that talk to each other again. They're phenomenal storytellers. I am so excited. I love their storylines. That's why I play their games. For story.
Well, I'm glad to see we're in an age where usually, in the past, video games did not translate well to the movies,
Right.
And I'm glad we're coming into an era where it seems like the video games are translating a lot better into the movies, and we're getting decent movies.
They made
this is a TV series, not a movie. So
they made the games first. That's why it works.
Yeah.
Because
they've done that with other games too, and tried to make movies, and then the movies just suck.
I think that's because Bethesda was intimately involved in creating this show. Whereas the other ones, they just took it and then it's like taking books into movies, where they'll change stuff because they think, oh, this will be better for a TV audience. No, you've got all this lore. Well, it's the same thing with Star Wars. You've got all this lore that you could have pulled from and you
Are you listening to Disney? Yeah, here, King. Disney.
But I do
Kathleen Kennedy. Hello.
Mhm. But that's how that's in the beginning. That's how Cars, Pixar was story came first. Period.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing that everyone needs to remember. A lot of times they're like, oh no, we need to change this or we need to add this element because audiences like this. No. Just stick to the story, create the story. The elements you're adding are just elements for wow factor, or you assume as wow factor, but you're killing the story. So I think that's what made this show different.
See a common denominator there when you said Pixar? There's still a common denominator between Pixar and Star Wars. It's Disney.
Well, yeah, but even in the beginning, it was just Pixar. But I will say,
right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. In the beginning, it was Pixar, and like you said, they focused on story, and then Disney took over, and Disney's more focused on the almighty dollar and less on the story. You know, where if you focus on the story, you're going to bring in the dollar.
I'm trying to think of ones that didn't work, like the Assassin's Creed movie.
That was a flop. It was bad.
It wasn't good.
Yeah, I never watched it, but I've heard that.
I don't know. Resident Evil was pretty okay. For what it was.
But Resident Evil did the exact same thing. They created the story, and then they just embellished and added and things like that to the story with the show.
Well, you can go all the way back to Doom. Doom was a huge successful game, and then they tried to make a movie, and it just sucked.
I think it really has to do with these games, people who are playing these games. Because I mean, my Fallout game, before I restarted the game because of the new update, I had like 4,000 hours in it. So I was in that world, and that's one game of like 6. So imagine how much. Like you're in that world. Hey, there's a raider going to attack a family over here, and you feel like you need to go save that family. That kind of thing. So that they're sucking people in on things like that, and they're creating these stories that everyone just loves. I think Bethesda is a phenomenal storytelling company, and like I said, I hope they don't lose their way.
And maybe that's the thing they got right. They just found the right company that's actually telling decent stories in video games and then incorporating that into the television series. So
yeah, it's kind of like Tammy said she didn't like the Silent Hill game because it didn't, or the movie because it didn't go with the game.
Gotcha. It
depends on, I guess, which one you find first.
I can think of an exception to the rule. Well, I think it was an exception at one point, and then there was a time where people started to write it off. But Tomb Raider, that was a huge popular game, and I think the series did fairly well.
They did. They did a good job.
I know it gets kind of crapped on today, but when those movies were coming out in the theaters, I think they were fairly big hits.
Right.
And Angelina Jolie's nothing to sneeze at. So,
did you see the other one with Alicia Vend? I can't say her last name. That one wasn't bad.
I haven't seen.
That one wasn't bad. I thought, we'll get a nice reboot. That'll be fun. Vikander, Alicia Vikander, so yeah, that wasn't too bad. I'm trying to think of the other movies, but I think, in my opinion, the Fallout TV series is the best by far video game adaptation for the screen.
Yep.
It is. Go ahead.
It's like the Spider-Man games that they come out every Spider-Man movie, and you either love it or you don't. And I hear the people all the time complaining about it's just it doesn't fit. It doesn't have its spot. I think Fallout did a phenomenal job of. Now I hope we get like 12 seasons of a movie of a TV series, and then we get a game that the game just kind of all meshes together and works out that way.
Mm-hmm. You would think that's what they would do.
I hope
that would be phenomenal.
We're talking 10, 12 years between games, though. You realize that Fallout 4 is 10 years old.
Wasn't there a game that they kind of tried doing that with, though, where the game actually coincided with the television series? I can't think of what that series was.
Walking Dead was one of them.
Well, no. It wasn't The Walking Dead. Gosh, man.
Fallout 4 came out in 2015.
Wow.
Almost 10 years ago. People are still playing it. Skyrim came out basically this. I don't remember, and I'm still playing both of them. And what's weird is I'll be playing Skyrim, and I will literally open a chest I've never opened before. And I'm like, what is this? And then you look through the book and you're like, really? This is how this is? Skyrim came out in 2011. They make games that are 10, 12, 15 years long.
I know nothing at all about Skyrim.
And then they do updates and they do expansions, and it's just
Did
you realize they crashed the servers downloading a Fallout 4 when the new game came out? When they announced a free update, you couldn't download the game because everybody was trying to re-download it.
Now, was that before the show or after the show?
Right before the show. So
see, I think the show is gonna attract people to the game. I really
one of the most downloaded things recently, and like I said, I'm replaying it for the 6th or 7th time.
So, and if it's attracting people to the game, they're not going to stop making the game. There's no way.
They're not going to stop making it. You're right.
Yeah.
There'll be Fallout 5. Well, I don't know. Would they call it? They won't call it 5.
Well, what
They'll
happened was 76 was bad at the beginning, and a lot of people didn't play it because they were like, this is going to be a massive MMO, and there's going to be no real people, or the only people you'll be able to talk to is real people in the real world. That's not what these games are. People want to play solo.
Mm-hmm.
And then they started implementing NPCs and stuff like that. Now the game's a lot better.
Okay. So they tried to go totally social interactive.
Well, they wanted the monthly recurring revenue.
Well, yeah. Well,
microtransactions and all that kind of stuff. And then for some reason, Fallout 4, which is way older, is still played more than the newer one.
Wow.
So they need to go, oops, we made a mistake, and we go this way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think even with Skyrim, boy, that would be a great story because you're Dragonborn. You can speak the dragon language.
But the problem with that is if you play, you either have to do exactly as the game, or you screw the lore up.
Tyler, your wife liked the Tomb Raider movies, by the way.
Yeah, I was reading that. But if you think about it, they don't want to screw up. They don't want to screw up the lore on that either, because you can't be the Dragonborn unless you do exactly what you did in the game. And there was no 2 Dragonborns, so they have to like go to like the another island. There's like 22 islands. We've only been to 6, so they can just pick an island and start telling the story.
Sure.
That's what they can do.
It's a great world. I think it's a better fantasy world. The potential for that is a better fantasy world than what we've already received with Rings of Power. While beautiful, the storytelling wasn't there. The Wheel of Time, I had read the first book, the first book of Wheel of Time, and I was just disappointed. It just didn't follow they changed a lot of things and how things were and stuff. I was so looking forward to it. And I have watched both seasons.
I remember that because we did an episode on that, and yeah, you were really excited about that. And I know nothing about Wheel of Time, so I didn't have much to add to that one.
Yeah, it's a good series. I'm more of a Brandon Sanderson fan who finished the Wheel of Time series for Robert Jordan, the author, because he passed away. So, anyway, so yeah, I see them do like Skyrim or something because they are great storytellers. That would be good. I didn't realize there's 22 islands to be open with that.
Yeah, they've hinted at 22. We've only seen 9 or something, 8 or 9, something like that. And we've had 3 or 4 games. So they've already told a few stories along the way. I think they can really, but they've already announced Skyrim 6, or it's the Elder Scrolls series. Skyrim is that.
Yeah.
Elder Scrolls 6.
That's
2020, 2028, 2027, something like that. Before it's yeah, and it's been in the works since 2000.
They've been doing updates for. They've been doing updates for online, Elder Scrolls Online for what? I mean, there's all kinds of, but that's an MMO.
That's back to the MMO, and
I didn't get into it because I was like, we got this update, and you can get PS5. You can get really good deals if you've never played it. But I'm thinking, it's an MMO. I can't.
That's where their problem.
That's not who I am.
Fallout 76 was an MMO.
That's not who I am.
Elder Scrolls Online was an MMO, and both of them didn't do as good as the games right before them, which were not MMOs.
Okay, forgive my ignorance, but what is an MMO?
Massive
multiplayer online.
Yeah, multiplayer online. Yeah.
So, in other words, you have a whole bunch of people all playing together in the same.
All on a server. Everyone changing stuff. It's not your story.
I just didn't know what the acronym stood for. That's all.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's all right. It's been I'm very pleased with how they did Fallout.
Nice.
Hopefully they will continue. That's the big
thing. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do.
I just hope that they get more on the ball, kind of like Walking Dead did, and pump out a series, like a season once a year, not once every 2 or 3 years.
That would be good if they could do that. Yes.
They would just have to tell less of the story more often.
Oh, sure. But at least have something every year.
Or at least every year, like 12. Yeah. Because like the Walking Dead did that. They had, we used to have a season in the end of the year, and then we'd have a season the end of next year.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with The Walking Dead is it became oversaturated.
They did way too much.
They started incorporating so many different, television spinoffs, and I would try to watch the spinoff. I got kind of excited about it, and then I find myself going, I don't care about any of these characters. They kill somebody off, and it'd make no difference to me. It's like, okay, whatever. All right.
Me and my wife just watched the one with Rick in it last.
Oh, really? How did you like
it? We liked it. Just 2 weeks ago, we watched it. Yeah, we liked it.
See, I checked out so long ago. I'm like, I don't know if I care anymore what happened to Rick.
You will. You will. Watch it. You'll enjoy it.
All right, I'll check it out. I mean, it
explains a lot.
It took them so long to get back to him. That's what I think. I think it just made me mad because I'm like, really, you forgot about him for how long?
I didn't watch the last 3 seasons.
Oh, I did just because I wanted to finish it off. And it was good. I liked it. I didn't like anything that they did afterwards, though. I couldn't get into any of the shows that they did afterwards. And I think that's the reason why I haven't even looked at the new. It's Rick and Michonne, right?
Yeah, it's a good series.
Okay.
It ties up all the loose ends from. Okay, so the last season I think I watched was like 1 or 2 seasons after The Bridge.
Okay.
And then I stopped because I was like, this is getting repetitive and boring. And then this one, I didn't miss anything on the last couple seasons, and it just brought everything together. It explains everything, like what happened to him. It's great. It was good.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
I would give it a shot.
All right. If you recommend it, I'll give it a shot.
I like it.
Okay. All right. Considering I hung on longer than you did.
You did. You hung on a lot longer than I did.
All right. Well,
cool.
I think we need to start wrapping this up.
We sure do, by golly. But that was good. Tyler, thank you so much for being with us today. It was great. I really appreciate your insights. And, man, that was good stuff. I had no idea about how deep the Vault Tech hole goes.
there's and we didn't even scratch the surface.
Wow.
There's a lot. You could read that wiki page and go through all the lore and be there for months.
Gotcha. All right, everybody. Well, real quick here at the end, I want to make sure everybody please go check out glitchenergy.com. And that is who sponsors Tyler's wife, Contagious Punk. The code to use to get 20% off is Contagious. So use the word contagious here. I'll put her thing back on the screen. I'll put for the code. Use the code for 20% off. Man, we got a lot of comments today. Usually I go back to it. I still can't find it, but it's contagious is the word. There it is.
There we go.
Thank you for helping. Hey, by the way, I actually used it while we were on the show and it works. Just saying. So.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, it's good to know it works.
It works.
It worked last time we used it. So
that's awesome.
But anyway, so we're not sponsored by Glitch Energy, but by golly, Tyler's wife is, and I appreciate you being here with us today. It was good. This was good. I really enjoyed today's show. So, all right,
well, scratch the surface.
I know we could do so much more. We could have a whole season of just Fallout. Oh my goodness. Well, hey everybody, please check us out on our website at www.2geeksmike.com, www.2geeksmike.com. There you will find all things Two Geeks. You can also get to our Ko-fi page, which is also kind of like Patreon, but it's a different one and we like it. ko-fi.com/2geeks. What's really cool is I just released yesterday the OCD Assassin story and audiobook.
Oh yeah, I saw that you put that up. That's cool.
So I told everybody I was going to do that for this month. So it is out there. It's a story of Birdie, who's an OCD assassin, who is technically a sniper, but it all goes wrong, and she has to face her OCD fears in order to take out the big bad guy. So it's a fun story. Remember, it's just having fun. Just learn to do storytelling. I did it in conjunction with Claude AI. So I had all the story beats. I had the story ideas, and then Claude helped me write it, and we edited together. And it was a lot of fun, a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun. And then also on the Two Geeks page, you can go to also our merch page, which is twogeeksmikemerch.com. Also, you can go there. We have
speaking of our merch,
we got new t-shirts. I'm getting ready to order these here in a second.
So we got 2 new t-shirts. We got, as we coined last week on the show, he got Dooku'd. So if you're listening, it's the silhouette of Count Dooku with the crossed lightsabers, getting ready to, cut off his head.
Right. And then we also got, which I probably should have mentioned for today's episode too, and
then we got Steven's catchphrase.
Skip this. The Steven skip.
The Steven skip. So if you're a fan of the Steven skip, get that t-shirt.
Yeah,
and they're both available.
Yeah. I also like our new collared shirt you had there. I'm probably going to get one of those too.
Oh yeah. I came up with that a little bit ago. There's a lot of nice merch on here. I love the collared shirt. I need to get that one too. That's so cool. And it's got our logo on the breast there. It's got Save It for the Podcast on the sleeve, which I like to put on a lot of our shirts. We got some cool merch. Go check it out.
Yep, having a good time. All right. Also, everybody, if you want to get a hold of us, please take a look at or just contact us at show@twogeeksmike.com. Mike does a pretty good job of keeping tabs on that email. He does a great job with it, really. And so show@twogeeksmike.com to get a hold of us. All right, Mike.
All right. And if you've made it this far, please make sure and go and like and subscribe to us on both Facebook and on YouTube. Facebook, I try to put a lot of funny memes on there. I put information on upcoming shows as this one. And then if you go over on YouTube, give us a like there, and hit the little bell, tickle the bell, whatever, ding the dong, all that good stuff. You will subscribe to our channel and get notifications of every time we go live. And speaking of going live, we go live every Saturday morning at 6. Wow. I'm making it earlier for you, Steven. No, we go live every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. You do the math, because I don't like math. All right. I think that's all I got to say. Tyler, do we have like a good catch line for Fallout? I don't know the game well enough for a catch line.
Or we just do the TV. Okie dokie.
That's probably the new one. Yeah.
All right. So with that said, over and out, and a big thumbs up, and okie dokie.
Okie dokie.
Thank you for joining us today on the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast. Tune in next week when we will have more news and reviews. Until then,